on doing another one of these. I don't know if I'm going to post it the day that I'm doing it, considering I just finished posting one of these, but I'm going to read it right now because this story is really good, so I'm going to do that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. This is chapter 3, by the way, of Red Ribbons. It's a Kami Shinzo fic. Chapter 3 of Red Ribbons. Who are you? The blonde fixed his eyes on the man standing above him, gripping the rail of the stairs in fear. The figure stood there for a while, not saying a single word or making a simple sound. The figure appeared, to Kami at least, to be a tall, young teenage boy like himself. There was a rather toned body hidden underneath the large cloak that reached all the way up to the boy's neck and all the way down to the boy's ankles. Kaminari couldn't see what the boy was wearing underneath the dark cloak, but by a simple glance of fabric, he could tell that the boy was rather dressed in a rather foreign outfit, something similar to what a Victorian man would wear. The blonde hesitated to take another step, in fear that the man would lunge at him or hurt him in any possible way. The grip on the staircase's railing started to loosen as Kaminari took in some air before he spoke. I'm lost, and I sorta stumbled in here. He stuttered, mentally cursing himself for doing so. I am so sorry for intruding, but I was hoping you could tell me how to get out of here. The words trailed out of Kaminari's mouth as his breath hitched. The cloaked man started to walk towards him down the stairs at a quite fast pace. Kaminari let go of the railing and took a few steps back as he swallowed to get rid of the lump in his throat. The man reached the end and was now standing in front of the frightened blonde. Kaminari's breath was shaky and uneven. His chest rose up and down and sweat started to form on his forehead. The cloaked man reached out to hold the blonde's hand, and Kaminari was taken aback at the sudden action. What are you? Do you really plan to leave in this state? Well, Kaminari is really fucking dead, and it's all my fucking fault, and ow! Shiro rubbed the back of his head, and he turned to see who had hit him. He was surprised to see a teary-eyed Mina. Shut up, she yelled. He isn't dead, and it's not your fault. Mina is right, Shiro, Kirishima said. I'd like to think that Kaminari is pretty much alive and well. Maybe he's already outside the forest and just simply played a prank on us. Tch, Bakugo gritted his teeth. He's going to be dead when I get my hands on him for him fucking worrying us like this. Still, where could he have gone if he isn't outside the forest? Maybe he's back home? That's fucking unlikely. Let's just go look for him, Mina suggested. These woods are starting to scare me. All of them, minus Bakugo, seemed to agree. Gripping tightly to Kaminari's torn jacket, Mina walked in between the boys. She held the jacket close to her chest as her vision started to blur. Please be safe, Kami. Purple, mesmerizing eyes. Kaminari was lost in a trance with them. The cloaked man has removed his hoodie, covering his appearance, and Kaminari thanked whomever was up there for it. Under the hoodie revealing was a fairly handsome, yet tired man. He had a wild but soft-like lilac hair that stuck out from many ends, bright features, and beautiful, purple, hypnotizing eyes. Kaminari didn't even mind those not very predominant eye bags that he carried under his face. He still found the young man handsome. What? The blonde breathed out, his heart pumping rapidly before. I said, the man repeating, do you really plan to leave in this state? His eyes trailed down Kaminari's, following, to the small cuts and openings on the blonde's hands. Oh, that? Kaminari let out a laugh. It's nothing big, really, just a few scratches and cuts, no big deal. The man looked up, his eyes narrowing at the blonde's response. The savage animals out there would think otherwise. A few scratches and cuts have blood in them, and they can smell it, if you're catching what I'm saying. Kaminari went dead silent. They'll think I'm a literal snack. The man nodded and looked towards his left. He gently grabbed the blonde's hand and guided him towards the living room. Kaminari's eyes widened as he looked at how classy and fancy the living room looked like. Kaminari eyed the man in front of him as he thought, "Oh my god, homeboy's totally rich, just like Todoroki." The living room was just as grand as the main entrance, yet it wasn't as huge as the place. It was smaller. Nice furniture still decorating the place as a deep velvet carpet covered the floor. "Sit on the couch and wait for me," the man instructed. "I'll be right back." "Okay," Kaminari said and walked over to the couch, obeying. His body sank into the comfortable couch as all his tense muscles relaxed. Kaminari's aching body had been craving for a resting spot, and thankfully he had it now. Kaminari closed his eyes for a quick moment. His eyes opened at the sound of glass clanking together, and Kaminari instantly sat up. "You okay?" the man asked. Kaminari nodded and saw what the clanking sound was. Just a teapot being placed down on the small table in the center of the room. There was a small teacup and a first aid kit as well. "What's that for?" Kaminari asked, his curiosity getting the better of him. "It's tea," the man simply answered. "Chamomile, to be exact. It'll soothe your muscles and stuff." Kaminari blushed and turned his face away. "Thank you." With cotton swabs and rubbing alcohol in hand, the man walked up to Kaminari and bent down. "Give me your hand." Hesitantly, the blonde let his hand rest on his thigh. The faint smell of blood lingering around the room made the man pause for a second. Kaminari looked at him, confused, but the man brushed it off and regained focus. The man let the cotton swabs soak in some alcohol and looked up at Kaminari. "This will sting." Kaminari took in a deep breath before the cotton swab was placed on his wound. "Ow!" Kaminari flinched, clenching his other fist, which was a terrible idea. "Fucking ow!" The man let out a chuckle. "I told you it would sting." "Yeah, but not this much." "It's infected," the man explained. "It burns because it's killing the bacteria inside the wound." Under his breath, Kaminari muttered, "Fucking bitch-ass wolves." Dressing the wounds and wrapping his hands in bandages before moving on to the other hand, the man questioned the blonde. "By the way," he started, "what's your story?" Taken aback, Kaminari looked at the man, confused. "My what?" "Your story." "My story?" The man sighed. "Yes, I would like to know how you got here, etc." "Oh," Kaminari laughed. "That's actually a funny story, really. You see," his laugh died down and turned his head towards the side. "My friend dared me to go into the forest, something along the lines of, I'm being a scaredy cat or a big pussy. Trying to prove them wrong, Kaminari paused. "Went inside, and since I was bored, I walked way into the forest, to the point where I got lost. I was chased by some wolves, and then I tripped over a big fucking log that was on the floor. I rolled down the cliff, which explains all my cuts and my messy clothes. After that, I saw this place." "I see," was the only reply Kaminari got out of his post-murder story. The man finished with his hands and stood up, inching closer towards Kaminari. Kaminari stared at the man, eyes widening, as blood rushed to his dirty cheeks. He closed his eyes, and once he felt a cotton swab brush across his cheeks, he relaxed a bit more. He's so close. Kaminari heard the sound of some paper being ripped, and then he assumed that there were band-aids being placed on the multiple scratches on his face. He opened his eyes to see the man throwing away the leftover paper in the trash bin he had there. Thank you." Kaminari looked down and began to fidget with his now bandaged fingers. "Here." Kaminari looked up and saw the teacup that was in front of him. He took the cup and bowed his head in gratitude. The man nodded and sat back on the other sofa facing Kaminari. Kaminari looked at the dark liquid inside the cup before blowing on it and taking a sip. As warm liquid went down his throat, Kaminari felt a pair of eyes on him. He was pretty creeped out, and because of that, he almost choked. So, Kaminari broke the awkward silence. Is this your house?